Om Gyanat Timirandasya Gyananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Sita Mataji, the live is still not working here.
Okay, Mataji.
Still not working. This ID is blocked and this ID is not enabled, so still getting worked up. Okay, let's start today's class. Today, so everyone is aware, right? From 5:30 or 6 p.m. we are going to start the New Year Eve program. 8:30 p.m. a very big sannyasi is going to give us a visit. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He's Srila Prabhupada's disciple, one of the first disciples, and he's been a sannyasi for 50 years. He is Prabhupada requested Indian government. He's American by birth, to give him the Indian citizenship. He told him to go to India, learn Bengali, and build Mayapur. And he did it. Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he did it. He came to India. He learned Bengali. He's born in America, and he built Mayapur. So the entire Mayapur congregation that we see is done by Jayapataka Swami Maharaj under the supervision of Srila Prabhupada. And a few years ago, Maharaj had a stroke. So, but he still didn't stop. And then after some time, he had, actually last year, he had a liver transplant and a kidney transplant because his liver and kidneys were failing because of the, I don't understand why. I guess because when he had a stroke, he got some blood transfusion, he got infected. So Maharaj is wheelchair bound externally, but he's such an exalted devotee. If you'll see the darshan today, he's fixed in Chaitanya Leela. He's a Mayapur, right? So the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he tells are so confidential, as if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were personally telling it to him. Today we are going to learn how do we welcome a devotee. I was going through this and I said, excellent. Today we're going to welcome Maharaj and we're going to, go through this. So when you see him, pay obeisances. Because if we don't pay obeisances to a sannyasi, our lifespan decreases. Okay, not only that, but still, a person who has given his life to Krishna is worthy of everyone's respect. So yesterday we did 4th and 5th. 4th verse was of the 6 principles of exchange between the devotees. 5th verse was what are the 3 levels of devotees, and Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama, and how each devotee, what are the symptoms of each devotee. Like Kanishta is very is first initiated, is very much in alignment with the deity worship, but does not know how to interact with other devotees. Slowly they'll get to Madhyama and Uttama also, but that's what for our understanding we must know. Madhyama sees 4 things, sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the loving object of love, sees devotees of Krishna, sees innocent people who are misled by public, and also sees the envious and the atheist. Uttamadhikari sees everybody as a part and parcel of Krishna, does not see anything, no fault, does not differentiate anything on bodily concept. Actually, Uttamadhikari has to come to a level of Madhyama to preach, because Uttamadhikari can't preach. They don't see any problem in this world, so they can't preach. So it's a Madhyama they also come down to Madhyamadhikari to preach. Today we are going to learn how do we look at a devotee. So Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is going to give us an instruction how we should pay our obeisances to the devotees. Okay, so I'll chant the verse. We'll try to finish on time because I want to do some rehearsals with the devotees who are performing tonight. So, drashte svabhava janiterva puschadosher na prakartatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet ganga bhasam na khalo budbudha fena panker brahma drivatam apagachati niradharmaye. I'll chant one more time. And if someone of you wants to chant, you can raise your hand. Drashte svabhava janite vapusascha dosher na prakartatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet ganga bhasam na khalau budbudha fena panker brahma drivatam apagachati niradharmaye. Vimla Mataji, go ahead. Very quickly, you have to unmute all of you. Then Sapna will go ahead, okay? Sapna, you go ahead. Vimla Mataji, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Drashte svabhava janiter vapushascha dosher na prakritatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet ganga basam na khalu budbudha fena panker brahmadravatvam apakacchatir niradharmaihi.
Thank you, Mataji. Sapna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Svabhava janiter vapushascha dosher na prakrithatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet gangam basham na kalu budbudha fena panker brahma dravatvam appagachati niradharme. Hare Krishna
Nice.
Mataji.
Thank you. Uma Kannan Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
दृष्टै स्वभाव जनितेर वपुसाश्च दोषैर न प्रकृतत्वम् इहा भक्ता जनस्य पश्येत् गंगां भाषं न खलु बुद्बुदा फेन पंकेर ब्रह्मा द्रवतम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मै.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So I will read the translation, and whoever wants to read the purport can please raise their hand. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from the materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee as having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges water do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. So Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is telling us that how we should look at another devotee who is a pure devotee. Pure devotee does not identify with the body. We should not look at the body of a pure devotee from materialistic point of view. We should overlook having a body born in a low family, body in a bad complexion, a deformed body, a disease or infirm body. Okay, so as the Ganges water remains pure, even if it is mixed with mud and foam in the rainy season, the body of a pure devotee remains unpolluted, despite of these seeming defects. Okay, no one is raising their hands. Anyone wants?
Mataji,
Can I read?
Shashi Prabhu, what were you saying?
I can't raise my hand, so I'm asking if I can read. Co-host.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Can I give chance to the
Yes,
Sapna?
yes.
And then, okay. Sapna, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Shuddha Bhakti, the activity of the soul proper. In other words, engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord is performed in the liberated condition. In Bhagavad Gita, it is 14.26, it is stated, Mamcha yo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunana samati yaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Avya Bicharini Bhakti means unalloyed devotion. A person engaged in devotional service must be free from material motives. In this Krishna consciousness movement, one's consciousness must be changed. If consciousness is aimed towards material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. And if it is aimed towards serving Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. A surrendered soul serves Krishna without material consideration. Anya Bilasita Sunyam. Gnana Karmadi Anavritam, unalloyed devotional service, which is transcendental to the activities of the body and mind, such as gnana, mental speculations, and karma, fruitive work, is called pure Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the proper activity of the soul, and when one actually engages in unalloyed, uncontaminated devotional service, he is already liberated. Sa Gunan Sama Tityaitan. Krishna's devotee is not subjected to material condition, even though his bodily features may appear materially conditioned. One should therefore not see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view. Unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. As explained in the previous verse, there are three types of devotees: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari cannot distinguish between a devotee and a non-devotee. He is simply concerned with worshipping the deity in the temple. A Madhyama Adhikari, however, can distinguish between the devotee and non-devotee, as well as between the devotee and the Lord. Thus, he treats the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee and the non-devotee, in different ways. No one should criticize the bodily defects of a pure devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. What should be taken into account is the spiritual master's main business, which is devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.30. Api chet suduracharo bhajate maam ananya bhak Sadur eva sa mantavyah samyag vyavasito hi sa. Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activity, he should be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of engaged loving service of the Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being.
Thank you, Sapna. Thank you. Your voice is going in and out though. So, Prabhupada is writing that Shuddha Bhakti is the activity of the soul proper. Shuddha Bhakti, not Mishra Bhakti. Mishra Bhakti is a bhakti which is mixed with jnana, karma, anavritam, or materialistic desires. So, Shuddha Bhakti is this activity of the soul proper. And Krishna consciousness begins. Actually, devotional service to Krishna begins when one is liberated. Mayavadis, they are very, they say dharma, artha, kama, moksha is the aim of human life. So moksha, right? Liberation is their aim. But here we are seeing that after moksha, the devotional service actually begins. So their language is very flowery, but is not perfection of life. That is why we don't hear their language. We have to disregard because we are not so strong that we can convince someone. Prabodhananda Saraswati, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas from a Mayavadi sannyasi, but he was engaged in chanting and dancing. So a very topmost Mayavad sannyasi, Prabodhananda Saraswati, was told that this Nimai Pandit took a sannyas. His name is Chaitanya, and he's not studying the Vedas, the Vedantas. He's just simply doing chanting and dancing. So Prabodhananda Saraswati called upon Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he said that you have taken sannyas. Why are you not studying Vedantas? Why are you chanting and dancing? That is not the function of a sannyasi. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not a fool. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu answered him that actually my spiritual master saw me as a fool and he ordered me to do chanting and dancing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not a fool. If you study the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a scholar. He was 7 years old and he was teaching Sanskrit. He was 16-year-old and no one could compete in his knowledge of the Shastras. So he defeated Kashmiri Pandit. He was so scholarly, but he said that my spiritual master took me as a fool, so he ordered me to do chanting and dancing. But Prabodhananda Saraswati instructed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on Vedanta philosophy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard without opening his mouth, just heard for many days. And after some days, Prabodhananda Saraswati said, you are not talking. Are you not understanding? So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his sharp memory, told what things were not were misinterpreted in the Mayavad philosophy. He could exactly go back and say, this is what you said this here. So then Prabodhananda Saraswati, he understood that the chanting of the holy name is the most perfect way of doing bhakti yoga, pure bhakti. And he became a Vaishnava. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to make a Mayavadi sannyasi, a Vaishnava. But we have to save ourselves. So we can't. So again and again, we are getting this warning. If somebody still wants to take a risk, good luck. But why? The Shastras are giving us a warning. And Krishna gives assurance. You see, Krishna consciousness is a sure process. There is no doubt there. Why? Because we have assurance so many times. Mam cha yo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So avyabhicharena bhakti means unalloyed devotional service, means that there is no other desire behind it. There is not like, okay, maybe I will get a better, comfortable life after I do devotional service. That's the most common reason why people do any worship, because there is some desire behind that worship. But pure devotional service or avyabhicharena bhakti is where there is no other desire. The only desire is how Krishna can be satisfied. Like the devotees of Vrindavan, they don't care Krishna is God or not. They are actually praying to Narayana for Krishna's safety whenever Krishna is attacked by some demon. Or Mother Yashoda, that's Avyabhicharini Bhakti. Or a pure devotee, Acharya, that's offering to Krishna. There is no other motive in the life of a pure devotee. Jnana karmadi anavritam. So this is what I was saying, that it's unalloyed and is transcendental to the activities of body, mind, such as jnana and karma. And bhakti yoga is the activity of the soul. Each one of us have it hidden inside us. We just have to prime it. We just have to bring it out. Like nectar of devotion, I've given this example before. A small child has an ability to walk, just needs little help, just needs little support. So with that little help and little support, this thing can be brought out in completeness. Okay, unless one is actually a devotee, we cannot see any other devotee perfectly. Why we can't see anyone else as a devotee? The problem is not with that person. The problem is with my own heart. Okay, it's not, the problem is never outside. In Krishna consciousness, one thing that I've learned very thoroughly is that the problem is never outside. Under any circumstance, the problem is never outside. The problem is always inside. And if I want to correct someone, then first I have to correct my own mentality. Okay, I cannot go to someone and start blaming and blaspheming and then think that they will listen to me. People in Kali Yuga are very disturbed. They're very disturbed. If someone goes to someone and starts shouting at them, they already are very disturbed. They get more disturbed. They don't get rectified. It doesn't work that way. Okay, that is why even the so-called system to the law and order system of punishment and punishment and trying to rectify people is also failing. It's failing thoroughly. We know that. No, not all the prisoners who go inside come out sober. They again do crime. Why? Because they're already disturbed and we are making them more disturbed. We are not giving them a proper engagement, which is in alignment with their own constitutional nature. Yesterday, I was hearing one class, one very senior devotee. She was giving class. Mataji is in Los Angeles, RADHA Devi Mataji. She's a lawyer trained in Harvard in Boston, and she practices in California. But she's a devotee, so she was giving class, and she was saying that she has done a lot of work in domestic violence, and she was saying that whenever we go to a prison, we see that nobody wants to be there. Neither the people who work, they want to be there. Not the lawyers want to be there, not the prisoners want to be there, neither the police wants to be there. Nobody wants to be there. Why? Because they're not really engaging them in a proper consciousness. Now here, from my Guru Maharaj, we hear that when the devotee, he goes to the prison to do the prison preaching, there are so many records, I can say so many stories, how these prisoners, when they are given given Srila Prabhupada's books, given associations, actually they approached me also, if the prisoners can write letters and then you can write them back. I was a little scared with the prison ministry because my Guru Maharaj works, so that if they find out my address and once they're released, then they can come to my house. But they said the risk is low, but I still refuse the service. But there are devotees where the prisoners can write the letters and the devotees write them back, and then they regularly mail them Prabhupada books and lectures, and how gloriously they're leading their life, how gloriously they have accepted their position in the bodily concept in the prison, but at the same time are well aware of their constitutional position. So we should not see other devotee with the defect. Kanishta, we should not be at the Kanishta stage. Let's not stay there. A Kanishta cannot differentiate what is a devotee, what is a non-devotee. Simply concerned with the worship of the deity in the temple. Which is fine, because worshipping the deity is a powerful method to purify one's consciousness. But Madhyama can distinguish between who's a devotee and who's a non-devotee, and treats everyone differently. But we should not criticize the bodily defects of a pure devotee. We see in our parampara, let's go back. So Srila Prabhupada, then Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, and then Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is a Siksha Guru of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Prabhupada. So Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj has seemingly, we can say that there is a bodily defect because he had scoliosis and kyphosis, and but anyway, he's a pure devotee. We should not look at them from our imperfect vision of finding defects here and there. What are we doing in this world? Picking up garbage from here and there and putting it in our consciousness. Let's not do that to the devotees. Okay? This is a very powerful verse. Apichat saduracharo bhajante mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. So it's a very, very powerful verse. It's Krishna is full of forgiveness to his devotees. Even if sometimes a devotee by accident does something wrong. Accident is important, by accident, not knowingly. Something wrong. And if he remains firm in his Krishna consciousness, Krishna forgives. But that doesn't mean that we should go on doing it again and again. And the purport to this verse in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explains conditional and constitutional position of a soul. Okay, I think we can continue. Srilata Mataji, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, I have a doubt, Mataji.
Yes.
Yesterday you were saying that we shouldn't copy the previous acharyas, but we have to follow them, Mataji.
Yes.
But what exactly is the definition between copy and follow? Can you tell me an example, Mataji?
Yeah, so whenever have you seen somebody who dresses up like a devotee, who has a tilak, who has kanti beads, who has chanting beads, chanting bag, and then they are, but then they behave as if they are in transcendental ecstasy. Oh, I have seen Krishna. Oh, I am Radha. Oh, I am, they're shedding tears. That's all like fake copying. Sahajiya Bhakta, but you study their personal life. There will be something which is impure there. So, but Acharya is completely different. Acharya has no duplicity in their life. What they are outside is what they are inside. So we are not at the stage of an Acharya where we can behave like Srila Prabhupada, right? So,
Yes.
so we should not, behave like one too. Just by feeling because I know Srila Prabhupada, because I know his lifestyle. So because he has done this, let me also act out like that. That person is condemned. Krishna condemns such person. Krishna also condemns.
Mataji, then for these two, copy and follow, could you tell me a small example? Like, for example, Srila Prabhupada has done this, and the other has done something, and the other people has also copied or followed. Like, could you please tell an example on that, Mataji?
So, okay, so like some people who are devotees of Lord Shiva, like because they are devotees of Lord Shiva, and they say that Lord Shiva is sitting with the people in mode of ignorance out of his mercy in the cremation ground. And Lord Shiva, they say, I do not know, but they say Lord Shiva is drinking dhatu. What is it called? English of dhatu? What is the English of dhatu? If anyone can tell me. Some intoxicant beverage, they say, right? You have heard of it. So because we are devotees of Lord Shiva and Lord Shiva is drinking some intoxicant, we are also allowed to smoke marijuana and drink this beverage. So that's copying. That's using Lord Shiva's example to do what they want to do. Lord Shiva also drank a poison and kept in his throat. Do that first. Okay. So don't copy this exalted devotees. Take shelter of them and pray to them that please give me unalloyed devotional service to Krishna.
Oh, okay, Mataji. And what about the follow? Example
That's
for
what,
follow.
pray to them and no, don't start drinking intoxicant and smoking marijuana because on the name of Lord Shiva. Pray to him that you're such an exalted Vaishnava. Can you please give me a little bit understanding of Krishna consciousness? That's following.
Oh, okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, Mataji, go ahead. Srilata Mataji, please.
Even though a pure devotee may not be born in a Brahmana or a Goswami family, if he is engaged in the service of the Lord, he should not be neglected. In actuality, there cannot be a family of Goswamis based on material consideration, caste, or hereditary. The Goswami title is actually the monopoly of the pure devotees. Thus, we speak of the 6 Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami had practically become Mohammedans and had therefore changed their names to the Bir Khasa and Sahakara Malik. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself made them Goswamis. Therefore, the Goswami title is not hereditary. The word Goswami refers to one who can control his senses, who is master of the senses. A devotee is not controlled by the senses, but is a controller of the senses. Consequently, he should be called Swami or Goswami, even though he may not be born in a Goswami family. According to this formula, the Goswamis, who are descendants of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu, are certainly devotees. But devotees coming from other families should not be discriminated against. Indeed, whether the devotee come from a family of previous acharyas or from an ordinary family, they should be treated equally. One should not think, oh, here is an American Goswami and discriminate against him. Nor should one think, here is a Nityananda Vamsa Goswami. There is an undercurrent of protest against our awarding the title Goswami to the American Vaishnavas of the Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes people flatly tell the American devotees that their sannyasas or title of Goswamis is not bona fide. However, according to the statements of Srila Rupa Goswami, in this verse, an American Goswami and a Goswami in a family of Acharyas are non-different. On the other hand, a devotee who has attained the title of Goswami but is not born of a Brahmana father or of a Goswami in the family of Nityananda or Advaita Prabhu should not be artificially puffed up by thinking that he has become a Goswami. He should always remember that as soon as he becomes materially puffed up, he immediately falls down. This Krishna consciousness movement is a transcendental science, and there is no room for jealousy. This movement is meant for the Paramahansas, who are completely free from all jealousy. Paramam Saranam. One should not be jealous whether he is born in a family of Goswamis or has the title of Goswamis awarded to him. As soon as anyone becomes envious, he falls from the platform of Paramahamsa. If we consider the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is very serious. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this offense as Hati Mata, the mad elephant offense. A mad elephant can create a disaster, especially when it enters into a nicely trimmed garden. One should therefore be very careful not to commit any offense against a Vaishnava. Every devotee should be ready to take instructions from a superior Vaishnava, and a superior Vaishnava must be ready to help an inferior Vaishnava in all respects. One is superior or inferior according to his spiritual development in Krishna consciousness. One is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. For a neophyte, especially considering a pure devotee from a material point of view, is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal feature and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself. Those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to a certain section of people, a certain section of devotees, or a certain tract of land are generally prone to see the external feature of the devotee. Such neophytes, unable to appreciate the exalted service of the advanced devotee, try to bring the Mahabhagavata to the platform. We experience such difficulties in propagating this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by neophyte God brothers who do not appreciate the extraordinary activities of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. They simply try to bring us to their platform, and they try to criticize us in every respect. We very much regret their naive activities and poor fund of knowledge. An empowered person who is actually engaged in the confidential service of the Lord should not be treated as an ordinary human being, for it is stated that unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world.
Very
When
nice.
one does...
Mataji, thank you. Very
Okay.
nice. So, thank you. So, Prabhupada is talking very strongly about the first offense to the holy name of the Lord. There are 10 offenses. First offense is to blaspheme the devotee of a Lord who have dedicated their lives for the propagation of the holy name. So, to look at a devotee from bodily defects or from their or from any other defects of their own mental speculation is the offense against the holy name of the Lord. So if we get that offense, then we really have to pay obeisances and beg forgiveness from that devotee. Okay, Prabhupada is saying Goswami is actually a monopoly of a pure devotee. The Goswami title is not a hereditary heritage. It is a monopoly of a pure devotee. It's a very powerful statement. Only a pure devotee can be called as a Goswami in its real sense. You know this word Mahajana. He talks about Mahajana word also like that. Mahajana means best of the human beings. So nowadays Mahajana has become like a family title, the last name or this name, but actually in real sense Mahajana yena gathasa pantha. One must follow the footsteps of Mahajanas. So Mahajana is also a monopoly of a pure devotee, not a family title. Similarly, Goswami title. Goswami means one who is the master of the senses. is the monopoly of a pure devotee. It doesn't matter what they, what tract of land, what kind of family heritage, or what kind of bodily defects one is carrying. We have to look at the activity. Guna and karma are more important because we are conditioned, because we cannot do what they are doing. We speak all these ill things. That's the real thing. My Guru Maharaj explains it very strongly. Envy. What is the definition of envy? I think this class will know the definition. Who's going to tell me the definition of envy? You can raise your hand. Yes, Sapna. What is the definition of the word envy?
Mataji, can I say?
Yes, Vibha. Please go ahead.
Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, fine. Okay, no problem.
Mataji, envy means a desire to have a quality possession, or it means desire, Mataji. Envy.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Sapna, what is the definition of envy?
Mataji, envy is we shouldn't, getting jealousy on something that others have but we don't have, like that.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Parekh, 108 is Dr. Parekh.
Yes, yes, Mataji. I like what you have it,
Yes.
but I don't like that you have it.
Yes, perfect.
Pratima Mataji.
Perfect,
Yes,
perfect.
that's a Guru Maharaj's definition. I like what you have, but I don't like the fact that you have it.
You have it. Yes, perfect.
So that is whatever defects we see in another devotee who is superior to us in Krishna consciousness is actually coming from the element of envy from our heart. So deep rooted, envious of another devotee. So Prabhupada was saying, I was hearing, material world means envy. That I am happy if someone else is distressed, and I am unhappy if someone else is happy. Okay, so the envy. And spiritual world means appreciation. I am happy because the other person is advancing so nicely in Krishna consciousness and is going back to Krishna. But I am unhappy if someone else is not taking up Krishna consciousness. So two different things. You say Urdhva Mula Madho Shakha. Different. So as long as we have to check ourselves, as long as I have this concept, oh, that person is so elevated, that person is so famous, that person has so many disciples, but that person is not Indian. No. But actually, it's the problem is mine. The problem is, you see, Krishna consciousness is such a nice program that it actually forces us to take care of our anarthas, unwanted habits. We are forced to take care. When one chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the first thing that happens is that one comes face to face with their own anarthas. We come face to face with our own dirty things in our heart. So it's not, that is why some people are not able to chant, but one must keep chanting, because chanting, one's brain substance get purified and we are able to understand the Shastras. We cannot understand what Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is saying. It's difficult. Actually, Nectar of Instruction is not that simple. I'm doing a crash course, even though I'm reading each and every word with you. But if we read it on our own, I remember when I read it many years ago on my own, I couldn't understand what is this book about, what is happening here. Slowly, by the mercy of the devotees, I could understand a little bit, not so much perfect. So don't look at the devotee by the colored vision. Don't be envious. If there is an envy in the heart, then we have to do an antidote to it towards another devotee. Find something good in them immediately in the mind. Find something good in them, and if possible, seek forgiveness. Because if we don't seek forgiveness, and tomorrow this devotee becomes a pure devotee, then we have to suffer the consequences. Like Dhruva Maharaj's stepmother, Suruchi, Suniti, Suruchi and Suniti, which was the name of the second mother who insulted Dhruva Maharaj.
Suruchi.
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 Yeah, thank you. Suruchi. Right, so Suruchi, she insulted Dhruva Maharaj that Dhruva Maharaj wanted to sit in the lap of his father, Uttanapada. But she said, because you're not born out of my womb, you cannot sit on the lap of your father. So Dhruva Maharaj got fried with that comment. But Dhruva Maharaj went to forest to beat and to get more elevated kingdom than his great grandfather Brahma. But when he saw Krishna, he said, what was I looking for? I came to you to look for material possession, but I found you. I don't want anything. Basically, he became a pure devotee, right? So even though he came with with some material desire, but he became a pure devotee. Because he became a pure devotee, his stepmom, who did not seek forgiveness from Dhruva Maharaj, had to suffer. Okay, she was burnt in fire. She died, so she had to suffer. So don't hesitate to seek forgiveness. Otherwise, there is the greatest suffering. At least don't find a fault in another devotee. It's a hatimata. Hatimata means mad elephant offense. That of all the people in the whole cosmic manifestation, we are finding a fault in a person who is a pure devotee and who is transcendently engaged in chanting and loving service of Krishna. Without Krishna's personal mercy, no one can preach. You see, it's written here. It is unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So without Krishna's personal touch, this is not going to happen. No one will be able to do anything. But if we see a devotee who has so many disciples all over the world, there is something in them that Krishna is happy about. Okay, so the whole verse is like that. It's a little fearful verse. I feel a little fearful when I read this. Okay, I think we can go ahead. 2 more paragraphs. Who's gonna read?
Mataji, can I read?
Sure, Vibha, read.
When one thus criticizes a pure devotee, he commits an offense, Vaishnava Aparadha, that is very obstructive and dangerous for those who desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. A person cannot derive any spiritual benefit when he offends the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Everyone should therefore be very careful not to be jealous of an empowered Vaishnava or a Shuddha Vaishnava. It is also an offense to consider an empowered Vaishnava an object of disciplinary action. It is offensive to try to give him advice or to correct him. One can distinguish a neophyte Vaishnava and an advanced Vaishnava by their activities. The advanced Vaishnava is always situated as the spiritual master, and the neophyte is always considered as his disciple. The spiritual master must not be subjected to the advice of a disciple, nor should a spiritual master be obliged to take instructions from those who are not his disciples. This is the sum and substance of Srila Rupa Goswami advice in the 6th verse.
Very nice. So very important. We should not look at another devotee from the bodily defects. We should not look at them from the low-born birth. We should not look at them from from their family title or whatever they were doing before they came to Krishna consciousness. So what should we do? We should look at them from the point of view of how much are they engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna. What is their activity right now? And if we don't do that, then we are the one who is going to be suffering. So this is how we suffer because of ignorance. So now we have a knowledge, we should not suffer. Okay, so try to practice it. And also a pure devotee is a spiritual master. The title of spiritual master is given only to a pure devotee. Everyone else is a neophyte. Everybody else doesn't matter. In front of a spiritual master, everyone else is a neophyte. So we should not go and give advice to the spiritual master. There is a pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master is Ishvara Puri. Okay, Ishvara Puri's spiritual master is Madhavendra Puri. So Ishvara Puri had a god brother, Ramachandra Das. Ramachandra Das or Ramachandra Puri. I think his name is Ramachandra Das is coming to my mind. So Ramachandra Das and Ishvara Puri are the disciples of Madhavendra Puri. When Madhavendra Puri is a pure devotee. Madhavendra Puri's pastimes are exalted. Chaitanya Chaitamrita celebrates the life of Madhavendra Puri. But Madhavendra Puri is now leaving his body. When he's leaving his body, there are aesthetic changes in the body of a pure devotee. So he is lamenting outside. Externally, Madhavendra Puri at his deathbed is lamenting that my life has passed. I could not get the lotus feet of Govinda. I wasted my life. He's lamenting, but he's externally lamenting, but he's in ecstasy. You see, we have to be devotee to see the other devotee. But Ramachandra Puri, he goes and gives advice to his spiritual master, which he says that don't worry, Krishna is very merciful. Even at the time of death, if we can think of him, he will take us back. Don't worry. Madhavendra Puri immediately discards his disciple. He said, first of all, I am dying. Second of all, I am lamenting I did not get the love of Govinda in my heart, in my life. And third, I am hearing your Vani. So my life is completely condemned. So he rejects. Because the spiritual master rejects the disciple. So immediately he falls down. Ramachandra Puri, he falls down. What he does, his activities change. What he does, he invites the Vaishnava. He starts finding fault in Vaishnavas. So he invites the Vaishnavas and he feeds them very sumptuously, very, very, very deliciously cooked prasadam. And they all eat, and then they say, we don't want any more prasadam, we are fully satisfied. This Ramachandra Puri says, no, take more, take more. So he force feeds them, and seemingly out of love and affection. And when they eat more, then when they go away, then he complains that these disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat a lot. They eat a lot. Just now you only did that. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he blasphemes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bhajan kutir and he sees a strand of ants. It's mud house. They were ants. And then he says, this sannyasi is forbidden to eat sweet because sweet increases the desire for opposite gender. If someone eats sweet, it has an effect in the consciousness. So he sees the strand of ants in the hut of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he says to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this sannyasi eats a lot of sweets, so he's actually going against the rules and regulation of a sannyas. He's finding fault. He falls down. So we have these examples from the Shastras warning us that no one else will be affected by these defects, by this defect finding mentality of the mind. Only I will be affected. Really, Krishna is sitting in the heart. No one will be affected. Nobody. And Madhavendra Puri remained in his exalted position. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. And but the person who finds a fault gets discarded, neglected by Krishna. You want to take a chance, but don't take a chance, because Rupa Goswami Prabhupada has taken time to give us advice to get rid of this anartha. Okay, I do want to present 4 to 6 slides, but let's do 7th verse. It's a small verse, and then we can do that. Any question in verse number 6? Can I go to verse 7?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, any questions in verse 6? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Avidya Pito Patapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kinta Vadaratni Anudinam Khalau Seva Jushta Swadvi Kramat Bhavati Tadkada Mulahantri. Very nice verse. Does anyone want to chant this verse? 1 or 2 devotees can chant. Yes, Rohit Prabhu, Rohit Nayyar.
शायद कृष्ण नाम चरितादि सिपाय अविद्या पीतो पताप्त रसनस्य नारोकिनु किंतव्या अदराद अनुदीनां कालु सेव जष्टा स्वाद्विक्रमात् भवति तत् गदा मूलहन्त्री.
Very nice, thank you. Reshma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Nama Charitadi Sita Vidya पीतोपताप्तश्वसनस्य नरोचिकानो किन्त्वा अधारद अनुदिनं खलु सैव जुष्टा स्वाग्निक्रमाद् भवति तत्कदा मूलहन्त्री.
Very nice. Thank you. Sapna?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Well,
Syat Krishna Nama Charita Disitapi Avidya Pitopatapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintav Adarad Anudinam Khalu Saiva Jashta Swadvi Kramad Bhavati Tadgada Mula Hantri. Hare Krishna
thank you so
Mataji.
much. Hare Krishna. Shashi Prasad Prabhu. Tanvi Mataji, you want to chant the verse?
Mataji. Mataji.
One second, Sapna. Tanvi Mataji, you want to chant the verse?
No, Mataji, read the translation.
Okay, the Shashi Prasad Prabhu has been waiting for a long time. Can I please ask him first and then you can read?
Okay.
So I'll read the translation. Sapna, what do you have?
Mataji, is Srila Prabhupada Mahaprabhu Krishna avatar? You said he's Krishna himself.
Not Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking that maybe he's Krishna avatar just like a week ago. I was just thinking, and then today you just said it, Mataji.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The holy name, character, pastimes and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one inflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Okay, Shashi Prasad Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The holy name of Lord Krishna, his quality, pastimes, and so forth are all of the nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Naturally, they are very sweet like sugar candy, which appeals to everyone. Nescience, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretions. Attacked by jaundice, the tongue of a diseased person cannot palatably relish sugar candy. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability to relish the transcendentally palatable name, quality, form, and pastimes of Krishna. Despite this disease, if one with great care and attention takes to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastimes, his ignorance will be destroyed and his tongue enabled to taste the sweetness of the transcendental name of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by the regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. When a man in the material world takes more interest in the materialistic way of life than in Krishna consciousness, he is considered to be in a diseased condition. The normal condition is to remain an eternal servant of the Lord, Jivera Swarupahaya, Shnera Nitya Dasa. This healthy condition is lost when the living entity forgets Krishna due to being attracted by the external features of Krishna's Maya energy. This world of Maya is called Durashraya, which means false or bad shelter. One who puts his faith in Durashraya becomes a candidate for hoping against hope. In the material world, everyone is trying to become happy, and although their material attempts are baffled in every way, due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistakes. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is the way of the struggle for existence in the material world. If one is in this condition, is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy, he does not accept such instructions. The Krishna conscious movement is being spread all over the world just to remedy this gross ignorance. People in general are misled by blind leaders. The leaders of human society, the politicians, philosophers, and scientists are blind because they are not Krishna conscious. According to Bhagavad Gita, because they are bereft of all factual knowledge due to their atheistic way of life, They are actually sinful rascals and are the lowest among men. Namam dukshta mudha prapadyante naradama maya parajnana asurambhavam asrita. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 7:15. Such people never surrender to Krishna, and they oppose the endeavor of those who wish to take Krishna's shelter. When such atheists become leaders of society, the entire atmosphere is surcharged with their science. In such a condition, people do not become very enthusiastic to receive this Krishna consciousness movement, just as a deceased person suffering from jaundice does not relish the taste of sugar candy. However, one must know that for jaundice, sugar candy is the only specific medicine. Similarly, in the present confused state of humanity, Krishna consciousness, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the only remedy for setting the world aright. All right. Although Krishna consciousness may not be very palatable for a deceased person, Srila Rupa Goswami nonetheless advises that if one wants to be cured of the material disease, he must take to it with great care and attention. One begins his treatment by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because by chanting his holy name of the Lord, a person in the material condition will be relieved from all misconceptions. Cheto Darpana Majnanam, avidya, a misconception about one's spiritual identity, provides the foundation of ahankara, or false ego, within the heart.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
So there are four things here. Krishna's four things are described. Krishna's name, that's Nam. Krishna's form is Rupa. Krishna's quality is Guna. Krishna's pastime is Leela. So Nam, Leela, Rupa, and Guna. These are the three forms in which we can meditate on Krishna. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is revealing it. But a person will not have a taste for it. Why? Because they are covered by ignorance. Ignorance which breeds our false ego, that I'm this body and I'm a product of this material nature. So Prabhupada is giving, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is giving example of jaundice person who has jaundice, has a lot of bile secretion in the liver. So that person, if you give them sugar candy, they will taste sugar candy as bitter. But sugar candy is not bitter. Sugar candy is sweet, but they taste it as bitter because they have a lot of bile in the body. But sugar candy is also the treatment for jaundice. We know in medical science this is true because it has a very easily digestible glucose. It doesn't need to be worked so easily. The liver doesn't need to work so much. So we know this is true. It's true even from a medical perspective. So sugar candy, even though it is tasting bitter to a person with jaundice, it's still a cure for the disease. So similarly, even though we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and we don't have any taste for it, but still chanting is the only cure. As much as the sugar candy is the cure for the jaundice, chanting is the cure for the disease person of the where the disease is sitting in the heart. This is what he's saying. And then only when we recover from our spiritual health. So such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So regular cultivation is needed, not just one weekend. On Sunday we'll go to temple, or in specific day of the week we'll go to temple, and rest of the days we will not think about Krishna, will not chant Hare Krishna. We will only chant Hare Krishna on special occasions. One can do that, it's not opposed, but that will not lead to the disease cure. That's not a proper prescription. That will not lead to the cure of the material disease. It has to be regular minute-to-minute engagement. I know some devotees now in this class who say that when we don't associate, we feel empty. I also feel empty when we don't have regular classes now. I feel I miss the association and talking and reading the Shastras with all of you. And I'm getting the same response from some of you also. So I'm very thankful. So our disease condition is slowly getting shed off by the mercy of the acharyas. So why are we so inclined to follow somebody who is not a bona fide authority? Where is this coming from? Again, it comes down to avidya, ignorance. That it's very easy because material life is in front of us, right? We see that I have money, I go to the market, I purchase the object of my desire, and I have it and I can enjoy it. So easy. It looks easy, it's not so easy. But spiritual life, go on chanting 2 hours every day. Then you will meet Krishna. So it looks like very far away, but actually it's Urdhva Mula Madhva Shaka, it's opposite. Material life is not easy. Prahlad Maharaj describes it in 7th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Material life is very, very difficult. It is a hope against hope. It's written here also. Prahlad Maharaj says that once material life, once misery starts, miserable condition starts when one starts contemplating contemplating enjoyment in this world. There's an example given in 7th canto. I read on Prahlad Maharaj chapter, I think it's 4th chapter, about liquor. About wine. So somebody wants to drink wine, but so much work has to be done before that. Somebody has to get the fruit or barley or rice or sugar cane where the wine has to be made. So one has to wait for it to ripe, then one has to extract the juice, then one has to, I think, distill, and then one has to leave it for aging, and it has to age, and then it has to be transported, and the other person who wants to enjoy this thing also has to work very hard to earn money, then go and drink 1 cup of wine. My God, so much work behind that, right? But chanting Hare Krishna, sit down anywhere in the whole cosmic manifestation, anywhere, any situation of life, sit down and just take your japa beads and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, instant. But we think it's different. It's not actually. Okay, so Krishna consciousness movement is spread all over the world just to give this remedy or just to help us regain our spiritual health. So Prabhupada used to say these temples are like hospitals, or because they are or oases in the desert. Prabhupada used to say this. Why? Because all of us who are inflicted with this avidya can get this knowledge. Because if Srila Prabhupada did not translate these books, then what was our chance to get it? There's no chance. So much of affection and compassion for fallen conditioned soul. That he is taking time at ripe old age to translate these books for us to read. So why not take advantage? Why to live in avidya? Why, if there's a better life available, why to take it? And even though we have so-called big scientists, big political leaders, but according to Bhagavad Gita, they're grossly foolish. They're foolish. Why? Because they're not surrendering to Krishna. Why? If they're so knowledgeable, someone may say we have such big degrees, MD or PhD or something, but they are grossly foolish. Yes. Why? Because Maya Afrita Jnana. Because their real knowledge is stolen by Maya. Because they don't even know who they are. If I don't even know who I am, how can I be of any help to anyone else? No, the whole world is now celebrating this vaccine which has come out, right? COVID vaccine. As we are celebrating, there's another strain which has come out, right? Another strain of COVID is out now, but the vaccine is not covering against that strain. So now what? We're just celebrating here that thank you science. This is what I read, at least from whatever I'm reading. But now what? Material nature has given another thing. So we really can't solve our problem, and material problem can never be solved by a material solution. It is never going to happen. A material problem, it can never be solved by a material solution. Material problem has to be solved by a spiritual solution. Srila Prabhupada gives examples, material problem. For example, somebody has a venereal disease, a sexually transmitted disease. Srila Prabhupada gives example of this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, somebody has actually transmitted disease. Come to the doctor and get an injection. You know, syphilis. Get a penicillin injection, and there are good chances that the disease is cured just by one injection. Then is the person really treated? No, because the person's heart is still unclean. So they go and they do the same thing again and come back with a disease again. Okay, we put an injection again, and then they go back and they do the same thing again, and then we put the injection again. So where is the treatment? I was discussing this with my student in the hospital the other day. I said we are not preventing it. We are not really curing it. We are just giving some superficial treatment for it. So the doctor who's treating is also in avidya. The person who's doing it is also in avidya. Why? Because they're missing the point. Krishna consciousness. They're missing the point. Missing the circle, the center of life. Its person is going and doing the same thing again and again. Why are they doing it? Because they're looking for happiness. But they're not looking at the proper place. That is why they're getting diseased. Like that, we are also looking for happiness, but we are not looking at the proper place. I am outsourcing my happiness in some particular relation, in some particular person, in some particular situation, in some particular asset, but it is not going to give me happiness permanently. It may give me happiness somewhere here and there, but that happiness is also covered with a lot of thorns. That's how material world is. But Krishna consciousness, if I go inside, if I take care of my own self, which is a part and parcel of Krishna, then all these things that I'm looking my happiness on will fall in place. We will know who is who. Right now, I am seeing this particular child is born out of my body, so this is my child. So this is my child. So this is supposed to be, I am supposed to give this to my child. That particular child is not born out of my body. So that is not my child. That's not my headache. You see, but when one becomes Krishna conscious, they can understand. This child is given to me by Krishna. It's property of Krishna. Let me take care of this as a property of Krishna. So we both will go. And if I see any other child, let me help that child also to become Krishna conscious. That is real happiness, where we are connected with Krishna, in service to Krishna with each other, with a clean heart, real clean heart. We have so many advertisements of so many detergents and cleaning products. None of them are giving us something to clean our own heart. Okay. Okay, Tanvi Mataji, please go ahead.
From the real disease, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
The real disease is in the heart. If the mind is cleansed, however, if consciousness is cleansed, a person cannot be harmed by the material disease. To cleanse the mind and heart from all misconceptions, one should take to this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is both easy and beneficial. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is immediately freed from the blazing fire of material existence. There are three stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord: the offensive stage, the stage of lessening offenses, and the pure stage. When a neophyte takes to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, he generally commits many offenses. There are 10 basic offenses, and if the devotee avoids these, he can glimpse the next stage, which is situated between offensive chanting and pure chanting. When one attains the pure stage, he is immediately liberated. This is called Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. As soon as one is liberated from the blazing fire of material existence, he can relish the taste of transcendental life. The conclusion is that in order to get freed from the material disease, one must take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for creating an atmosphere in which people can take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. One must begin with faith, and when this faith is increased by chanting, a person can become a member of the society. We are sending Sankirtana parties all over the world, and they are experiencing that even in the remotest part of the world, where there is no knowledge of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra attracts thousands of men to our camp.
In some areas, people begin to imitate the devotees by shaving their heads and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra only a few days after hearing the mantra. This may be imitative, but imitation of a good thing is desired. Some imitators gradually become interested in being initiated by the spiritual master and offer themselves for initiation. If one is sincere, he is initiated, and this stage is called bhajana kriya. One then actually engages in the service of the Lord by regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 16 rounds daily and refraining from illicit sex, intoxicants, meat eating, and gambling. By bhajana kriya, one attains freedom from the contamination of materialistic life. He no longer goes to a restaurant or hotel to taste so called palatable dishes made with meat and onions, nor does he care to smoke or drink tea or coffee. He not only refrains from illicit sex but avoids sex life entirely, nor is he interested in wasting his time in speculating or gambling. In this way, it is to be understood that one is becoming cleansed of unwanted things, anarth nivritti. The word anartha refers to unwanted things. Anarthas are vanquished when one becomes attached to the Krishna conscious movement. When a person is relieved from unwanted things, he becomes fixed in executing his Krishna activities. Indeed, he becomes attached to such activities and experiences ecstasy in executing devotional service. This is called bhava, the preliminary awakening of dormant love of Godhead. Thus, the conditioned soul becomes free from material existence and loses interest in the bodily conception of life, including material opulence, material knowledge, and material attraction of all variety. At such a time, one can understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and what his Maya is. Although Maya may be present, it cannot disturb a devotee once he attains the Bhava stage. This is because the devotee can see the real position of Maya. Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna, and forgetfulness of Krishna and Krishna consciousness stand side by side like light and shadow. If one remains in shadow, he cannot enjoy the facilities offered by light, and if one remains in light, he cannot be disturbed by the darkness of shadow. By taking to Krishna consciousness, one gradually becomes liberated and remains in light. Indeed, he does not even touch the darkness. As confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22.31, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andhakara, Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Adhikara. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy will immediately vanish.
Thank you, Mataji. I think we finished the verse. Thank you so much. You read so nicely. So, Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andhakar. Yaha Krishna taha nahi Maya Radhikar. So, Prabhupada started this magazine called Back to Godhead. I get the subscription quarterly. And if you read over here, Prabhupada writes every version of Back to Godhead magazine. It writes, Godhead is light, nescience is darkness. Where there is Godhead, there is no nescience. And he named the magazine Back to Godhead. So Shastras and Acharyas don't play around. They are straightforward, very clear, compassionate, and sharp instructions. No confusions, no perhaps, no maybe, no could be. We don't read these words in Prabhupada books. At least I have not read so far. Okay, so this is Prabhupada is talking about. First, he spoke that sugar candy and jaundice. So like that, avidya is the root cause of our existence, and avidya is the root cause why we cannot taste the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. But the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is the treatment for our spiritual disease, for our material disease, to regain the spiritual health. Like sugar candy is a treatment for jaundice. And chanting of the holy name is when one chants, we go through, 3 stages: offensive, nam, aparad. Stages of lessening offenses is nam, abhas, and pure stage is shuddha nam. So when we take up the chanting, we are chanting with 10 offenses. That's why we cannot taste that holy name on our tongue. There is a taste in the holy name. We should be able to taste it on the tip of our tongue. But we don't taste it because there are 10 offenses we are committing. But even if someone is chanting on the offensive stage, they feel relief from material sufferings. And that's called kleshagni. First step is kleshagni, and then their life becomes auspicious. That's called shubda. So first two things happen. There are 6 things which happen when one takes to chanting. 2 things happen in offensive stage, then 2 plus 2 more happen in namabha stage, and then 2 plus 4 plus 2, 6 things that complete in completeness happen in shuddhanam, in pure stage. So 2 things that happen when one is chanting an offensive stage is kleshagni, or disappearance of the material sufferings. One feels light, one feels happy, and shubda, one's life becomes auspicious. One feels happiness in the heart. And when we go on chanting, then more things happen. So like for example, in stage of lessening offenses, moksha lagutarini, a person becomes convinced that even so transcendently happy bhava stage, that one even derides the happiness which is attained by merging in the impersonal effulgence of Krishna. One derides that very easily. And also the other thing that happens is durlabha, kleshagni, shubdha, moksha lagutarini. I know what 2 things happen in pure stage is sudurlabha and Shri Krishna akarshani. But there's one more thing that happens in stage of lessening offenses. Does anyone know nectar of devotion? Rupa Goswami Prabhupada describes there. If anyone is a devotee in this class and they know, I'll come back to it. Okay, so but in pure stage, the 2 more things that happen is sudurlabha, devotional service is attained, pure devotional service is attained, but pure devotional service is very, very rare. And Shri Krishna Akarshani, pure devotee attracts the attention of Krishna. So this is a little deeper subject, but the main point in this advice by Rupa Goswami is just keep chanting, because even though chanting is not tasteful right now, it will eventually become tasteful, because that's how we will get rid of our offenses. And when somebody chants, these are the 9 stages of bhakti. First stage is shraddha. Somebody has a faith that let me try it out, let me see what this Krishna consciousness is about. And when somebody comes to Krishna consciousness, what are they doing? They're going to associate with the sadhus, so sadhu sangha. So Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha. And then when somebody is living in Sadhu Sangha, what are they going to do? They're going to do bhajan kriya, chanting and hearing about Krishna. And then what happens when somebody does bhajan kriya? Then what happens? Anartha nivritti. One gets rid of the unwanted things. It's not a fight anymore. Whether I should eat meat or not. It's not a fight anymore. Whether I should drink tea or coffee or any intoxicant anymore. Gone. It just flies away. Whether I should indulge in illicit relationships anymore. No, the Krishna sitting in the heart will give advice. You have an option. You can do this or you can go to me. You have an option. So not only do we hear that voice from the heart, but we also get strength to follow what is right. Most of us can hear what's wrong, what's right from within us, but we don't have enough strength to follow what's right. But by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we get the strength with the knowledge. Okay, and then gambling. We're not interested in going to mongers and gamblers. So anarthas are vanquished automatically. We don't have to worry about it. And then nishtha, then ruchi, then bhava, then prema. And when one is situated in bhava platform, we can understand what is Maya, what is Krishna. And Maya also is serving Krishna because a living entity wants to forget Krishna. But a living entity cannot live without Krishna, but wants to forget Krishna now. So Krishna arranges, you want to forget me, then go under Maya, which is darkness. But if I want to come to light again, then Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andhakar, yahan Krishna taha nahi Maya adhikar. Where there is Krishna, is like a sunshine And Maya is darkness, and when there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. And as soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of external energy will immediately vanish. Okay, but one has to cultivate. Bhakti is cultivation. One has to cultivate. One has to consciously make an effort, find out association, find out devotees who can be our friends, find out devotees who are superior to us and can give us the instruction, chant rounds attentively. One has to make attempt. If we stop making attempts, the life becomes very we lose taste in Krishna consciousness immediately. Okay, let me present